let me say this. Devin, well, a lot of Brian Norman supporters leading up to this fight, which I got to be honest, I was surprised that so many had him beating Devin Haney, and even by knockout. Now, he's going to cruise to a unanimous decision victory here. He even dropped Brian Norman Jr. in round number 2. Yes, Devin Haney dropped Brian Norman, the guy that was supposed to knock him out. By the way, Brian Norman Sr. and Bill Haney are getting into it, the fighters showing each other love. Let's talk before we listen to the cards. I found 3 rounds for Brian Norman. 9 rounds to 3. That's when he gets buzzed. He gets dropped. I'm going to try to get you a slow motion clip, but I got to be careful because the zone likes to send out copyright strikes like they're candy. So, Devin Haney looked the best he's looked since, I'm talking about exciting, at least the first half of the fight. The second half of the fight, he let off the gas. But this was the best performance by him in some time. Now, Brian Norman is not a bad fighter. It's just that I didn't see enough off of Giovanni Santillan, the Jin Sasaki. In fact, let's pull up his resume. But what I feel, going back to what I was saying earlier in the video, despite the spite of or against Devin Haney is why a lot of people, I feel, picked him to lose to Brian Norman Jr. because people don't like the way Devin Haney handled the Ryan Garcia situation after he lost to Ryan Garcia. You know, in fact, he got his ass beat by Ryan Garcia, a drunk, by the way, Ryan Garcia. Whatever the case may be, Ryan Garcia failed the drug test. I don't give a fuck about how people say it got inside. We're not going down that road. He failed the drug test. And he was a bigot. Do I think that Ryan Garcia is a racist? No, but he says some disgusting shit, which is I don't understand how he's getting a title shot against Mario Barrios. But we're going to talk about the whole 147-pound division. We're waiting for the post-fight interview from both fighters. And guess what? It is 9:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, and the main event is up next. By the way, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning over in Saudi Arabia. And it's Brian Norman Jr.'s birthday. Happy birthday, Brian Norman Jr. He got all beat up here. Let's listen to the cards.
Judge Jerry Martinez scores it 117-10. And Judge Lejek John Kobiak scores it 116-111. All for your winner by unanimous decision. And new WBO Welterweight Champion of the World, Devin the Dream Haney.
My bad, that's loud as shit. Let me turn that down. My bad. Where did 114, 113 come from?
And not a mark on his face. Look at the face of Brian Norman Jr. That didn't look like a fight that was 114, 114. This was a dominant performance by Devin Haney, facing adversity, facing his demons, and becoming a 3-division world champion. All eyes on Haney now.
Yeah, I added 116, 111. I gave Brian Norman 4 rounds. Obviously, there was the 10-8 rounds in round 2 for Devin Haney. And I don't know what Judge Mike Fitzgerald was watching. That means he had it 6-6 even in rounds.
Well, in the end, the right guy got the win, and he's the new champ. Claudia's with him now.
Thank you, Todd. Congratulations. And the new welcome to the welterweights. How does that feel?
First off, I want to say alhamdulillah. Allah is a great.
Oh, let me turn it up.
He's the best of planners. In 2024, I lost everything. Everything came crashing on me. In 2025, I came.
By the way, drop a like.
In 2026, I'm coming for everything.
And you're definitely making a nice little mark in this division. So with that being said, let's talk about that second round. You had him, and then all of a sudden, the wave started changing. Even though you dominated, what made it so difficult to take him down?
Yeah, no, he came out exactly how we planned, and so I was able to capitalize. But after I hurt him and dropped him, he made an adjustment, so then we had to adjust to that as well. But he's a true champion. He's definitely better than I expected, but I give him, credit for it, and I thank him for the opportunity, giving me the opportunity to become champion again.
You just said he surprised you. What surprised about him? What was different? What was new?
Well, like I said, we trained for, you know, how he came out initially, but he made an adjustment, like, you know, champions are supposed to. So we readjusted, and we racked up those rounds.
We mentioned before, you've been dominant in 2 divisions.
I'm looking for a
Now
slow
this is
motion
your 3rd
clip
division.
of the knockdown.
So is 147 where you feel the best?
Yeah, of course. You know, 147 is a weight class that I was supposed to be at for a long time. My dad has been telling me it's time to move up for a long time, but it was just so much at stake at 135 and 140. But I'm here to stay at 147 for a long time.
I know this is very soon. You just got your belt, but who might you like to face in this division?
Yeah, we take it on all comers. It doesn't matter who it is. You know, whoever my dad say he want me to fight, that's who I'm gonna fight.
Mr. Bill, any words?
Allahu Akbar.
Devin didn't put us to sleep.
No names? Come on, a little something, something.
Listen, thank you for a wonderful night. Riyadh is amazing. Turkey Al-Sheikh, Sila, Dr. Rakan, you know what I mean? We thank them for this opportunity. This has been a dream come true. And I mean, I'm gonna let Champ enjoy his night, and I'll let you know on another day.
I'll wait. Thank you so much, and again, congratulations. Back to you, Kate.
Thank you to Turkey Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, Riyadh season, ring. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk for a minute. So let me figure out where I'm going to start. All right, first, let me say this card was $44, $45. Well, not the card. You get, the Zone has a new subscription tier. Here, let me see if I can show you without getting in this shit, and hopefully my computer don't crash. I haven't done this in a while. They're probably not gonna let me do it. It's probably gonna show my stuff. Well, anyway, the point is, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. All right, we good. So the point is, this has so far been a very good card. Opened up with Vito Malnicki getting a knockout in the 12th round. Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes was a war so far, the fight of the night. Abdullah Mason and Sam Noakes answered a lot of questions about their careers. Abdullah Mason won, new WBO 135-pound champion. Bam Rodriguez toyed around with Fernando Puma Martinez, and stopped him in round number 10. And people want him to move up to 122. He's a 115-pound champion, 3 belts. The only one he doesn't have is the IBF. They want him to move all the way up to 122 to fight Inoue, but he's got other business he's got to take care of. And this fight right here, Devin Haney knocked the shit out of Brian Norman in round number 2, where going into this fight, Brian Norman was a slight favorite and an even bigger favorite before fight week to win this fight. I didn't understand it. And I had to think to myself, it must be because people can't stand a lot of, like, Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. More so, Devin Haney became, how can I say, kind of like Clarissa Shields is with that Pat Poose dude and Remy Ma, where they crossed over out of boxing to where now he's known in hip hop urban circles, if that makes sense. I don't know. But he was known to a lot of fans. People were pissed off that he sued Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, you know, cheated. But people like, yo, how you gonna sue somebody for whooping your ass? Like, you know, so it was a bad look. It was a bad look, and basically people were like, yo, he's a bitch ass nigga. Excuse my that's how I'm not saying it. That's what they were saying. So I feel that they just latched on to Brian Norman Jr. with like, oh, dude can crack. Oh, he knocked out Jin Sasaki. But who was Jin Sasaki? Mind you, I watched that fight. It was early in the morning. It was in a fucking gymnasium. No, I wasn't in an arena, but you kind of get what I'm saying. So this is when Brian Norman really came on the scene. Giovanni Santillon knocked him out in 10. People like, oh, shit. Derek Chavez. I think not Chavez. I forgot how to pronounce his name. Anyway, let's go Derek. Okay. He was in talks to fight Boots in this, but that fell apart for some reason. And as you can see, Boots would have probably beat him too. Then he went on to beat Jin Sasaki in his first title defense. And then Devin Haney moved right up in 9 rounds to 3, 8 rounds to 4, depending on how you look at it. But it was never any point in the fight where Brian Norman Jr. was a threat. Yeah, the second half of or the last quarter of the fight, he went out there to try to go out on his shield. But skill-wise, footwork, and especially if Devin Haney decided to box and move like he did the second half of the fight, I didn't see how people had Brian Norman beating Devin Haney. I guess they just thought that Devin Haney just was going to go out there and lay on the left hook. Let me see what Eddie Hearn is saying real quick.
Out of there
because he got
Even when he was
Ben.
winning so comfortably, he kept trying to get the stoppage. He was taking chances. He didn't mind taking a few to try and force the knockout. Slipped 4 or 5 punches. Beautiful showreel knockout. One more belt to go. Undisputed. Move to bantamweight. Try and do it again. And maybe
Bam.
a Nair Inoue fight at the end of 2026. Bam's now in top 5, top 4 pound for pound. He's 25 years old. Phenomenal talent.
Yes, absolutely. Is he in his prime yet? Is he in his prime yet?
Yeah, I think these younger weight classes will reach that.
I guess they already talked about Conor Ben. So to talk about the 147-pound division is pretty interesting now that Devin Haney is the champion, and now all the pieces are lining up for a Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney 2 in a unification. Now, from my understanding, that fight's already done. It's been done. They just been looking for the right time to make it. And they've already laid the path. So Ryan Garcia is supposed to be taking on Mario Barrios. That fight can be announced any day now. Brian Norman Jr. just lost his WBO title to Devin Haney. So you can have a unification between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney for the WBC and the WBO. Manny Pacquiao is linked to Rolly Romero. Y'all listening to this shit? The fight for the WBA after having that draw against Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios is looked at as the weakest champion at 147 pounds. And at one point in time, it was Brian Norman Jr. when he had first got the belt. So Mario Barrios, everyone wants a piece of his ass. Conor Ben is targeting him. Manny Pacquiao's targeting him. I want to fight Mario Barrios. You know, he's viewed as a weak champion. And if you look at his resume, he's been barely scraping by with these wins anyway. But he's winning in life, though. He married Omara Figueroa, the Figueroa sister with, anyway, let's be respectful. Lewis Crocker. What am I missing? What am I missing here? Liam Parrow is fighting soon. Me and Big J going to do a video. I forgot against Sue. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. Liam Parrow is going to be fighting to be the mandatory for Lewis Crocker. But I'm missing a piece, and I just talked about it last week. Something else is going. He's fighting Paddy Donovan on the 16th. This is a big fight. Me and Big J are going to be covering this. My colleague, we cover Australian boxing. And the main event is about to start here, so we got to move fast. They're fighting to be the mandatory for Lewis Crocker. But how come I feel I'm missing something? I'm missing something. Well, anyway, moving on. So as you can see, the division is pretty interesting, especially when you think of the different matchups you can have between the WBA, WBC, and the WBO. But rest assured, they're going to be moving towards very fast, especially after Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios gets announced. I'm expecting sometime probably in the summer, we're going to see Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney 2. Unless they push it till the end of the year. Devin Haney has a title defense against, I don't know, somebody. I believe is mandatory now is going to be Jack Catterall, maybe. That might be a nasty fight. And Ryan Garcia, if he goes on to win, I believe this guy right here, this Cisco guy, is the mandatory. He got a gift decision over Aglidas Kavalauskas earlier this year. So interesting division. Let's go see what people are saying on social media now that the fight is over, because a lot of people were counting Devin Haney out, eating a lot of crow, and that crow meat you can't really eat, from my understanding. It's like bad meat. What is this? Where are we at? Hold on, give me a minute. Here we are. Let's see. Haney is doing what he wants. Yes, he was. I just want to see if people changing their tune. Well, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at TStreetControversy. We are now on to the main event, David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. I don't think Anthony Yarde has anything to keep David Benavidez off of him. And yeah, see you guys later.